What's going on, guys? Wei Koh from Revolution, or should I rather say ciao ragazzi, because I'm here with two extraordinary
Ciao.
Italian gentlemen, Renaissance men. It's Ruben Tomella and my dear friend, the one and only, the great Mo Coppoletta, and the two brains behind Gagà Laboratorio. But Mo, tell me, how did this adventure start for you?
This adventure started quite a few years ago because, as you know, everything takes time in watchmaking. And everything takes time, even in creating a new language, creating a new way to dwell into this new master universe that we call micro world, micro brand, ocean that we're all swimming in. But which, to be fair, creates and brings a lot of creativity to the watch.
Brings a lot of energy.
A lot of fun, a lot of creativity, lightheartedness in this over serious at times world of collectors and watchmaking. So Ruben asked me many years ago to participate into this new project, and he wanted to achieve something quite striking visually and something and the line of watches that could be having a future in terms of declination, in terms of improvement, in terms of different iteration and different watch lines. So we started talking, we started sketching, we started designing it, and slowly but surely the first prototypes came along. We took inspiration from a lot of Italian elements that that very dear to both of us, and hence the very first line that was launched, Geneva Watch Day, the first Labormatic, because it's a new automatic movement from La Juperay, and this was the 50 in just to celebrate the 1950s in Italy, which were the years of in the economic boom and the design boom, the Italian design boom of all the appliances and the beautiful things that were permeating every household at the time. So I took inspiration from those colors and those lines and created something that merged both that design heritage and a little bit of Art Deco, a little bit of Americana coming from the 50s there, so the jet age and all that. And I still used some of the features of Gagà Milano, which are the hint of the lug, just to pay homage to the rich heritage that Ruben is coming from.
You mentioned the rich heritage that Ruben comes from. Ruben, what is your background?
So I founded the Gagà Milano in 2004, and then after 20 years I decided to go up in the high level in the watch industry. The idea is to put the new project in the independent watches. I call Mo. He likes, and okay, we started together with the new Labormatic.
Mo, I've known you for a long time. You're a guy I admire a great deal. Every decision you have aesthetically, from the way you're dressed to the way you furnish your apartment to everything, right, is something, I mean, to me, it's so tasteful. I've seen the watches that you've done before, and perhaps the one that people know you for the most is your collaboration with Bulgari, where you did the different elements like expressed through a tattoo type motif on these watches. And I think from the first time I saw them, I was really blown away by the idea of the sort of like connecting the bracelet, the case, the dial in one continuous motif. Really cool. Yes. But this is different in that you started ground up from this project. You conceptualized this watch from the very beginning, right?
Absolutely. It goes from the case, the 7-part case. It goes to the brand identity of Gagà Laboratorio, which is expressed in the central second wheel. I designed the fonts. The fonts are not.
I love the fonts.
The fonts are designed especially for that, just to take that inspiration, that roundness, but at the same time, that stealthy roundness. Going from 2D to 3D and visualizing the whole dial and the case, it's a step up, but it's something that I found quite fulfilling, because the important thing was for me to have an object, a watch, that could be seamlessly speaking one language. Even if it's 42 millimeters, it feels a bit smaller because it's very pebbly. So I wanted to also that to be a language. I wanted the dial to speak to the case and to speak to the crown, to speak to the Saffiano leather, to speak to the colors we chose. So it was an exercise that was I felt comfortable with, but at the same time it was challenging. You had a white piece of paper and pencil, so you had to come up with something.
Now, it's funny because every time I'm trying to identify what the zeitgeist is, where the future is headed, Mo is already there, right? So it's funny to me that this year is the year of the guichet watch.
Yeah.
So we've seen already the Convergence by Louis Vuitton. We have now seen that Cartier has brought back the Tonka Guichet as well. And you have also a guichet watch, which you guys actually launched a year before, right? And it's wonderful, this design language, right? You have just a central motif of this spinning disc, just not to give you precision, but just to let you know the watch's operation.
It's breathing.
Right? And then you have this sort of wandering hour indicator and then this dragging minute counter as well. And it's just like a really calm, poetic expression of time.
But there's a lot of decorative space, because if you see all around the watch, but because I put this some sort of 3D sector dial to it, the minute hand also can tell exactly a 15, 30. So the design language, even though there's a lot of emptiness, but in a lot of guichet watches there's a lot of field. There's empty fields.
In fact, guichet watches are defined by what do you do with the empty field. You know what I mean?
And that's what I wanted to do. So we chose that satin finish and that Bombay inserts in order to, from whatever angle you have it, there is a roundness to it, which recalls back. We live in an era now that you see the cars are all angles.
Like that horrible Tesla truck, We hate that
quite
truck.
Quite a few in New York. I was like, first time I saw them.
It's an abomination.
Back in the days, the lines were streamlined.
Right.
Because we were coming from the 30s and 40s. So if you think of the Vespas, the Lambrettas, the fridges, the blenders, everything
even
was smooth.
the espresso machines.
Everything was smooth. Right. So that was the point, to create the smoothness and step away from the angle.
The idea was to make a watch with harmony, with all the watches not too strong, light design.
The first time that he came to me with the first prototypes, we were both wearing the prototypes, and from the moment we stood up from our table and reached the car, 3 people stopped us to say,
"What are you wearing?"
What are you wearing?
Now, it's interesting also because oftentimes guichet watches to me are a little bit like swans gliding on the surface of a lake. It seems like it's calm and full repose, but underneath its legs are churning furiously. And what I mean by that is underneath the negative space that we see here, underneath the cover, there's a lot of mechanism going on there. You've got a disc for the hours, you've got the minute indicator, you've even got the seconds going on as well. And I think we started to discuss, wouldn't it be cool if you could show people a little bit of what's going on underneath, right? And play also with this concept of luminosity. Tell me a little bit about that, Mo, and that's going to lead us to the watches in here.
Well, it was, to tell you the truth, it was an idea, because when I saw the bare watch without the inserts, I saw all these wheels with all these numerals. As I said, I penned the numerals, so I wanted to see more of them. And, the idea of seeing through and seeing a ballet of numbers, of design numbers, it was always an idea we had. So we kept it there for a second. When we talked, I was, and I know your love for this color, and I know your love for the old tradition of luminous watches from Lange to anyone who uses.
We like lumens, yeah.
So I thought this could be the right way to do it. So we explored, we did a couple of renderings, and then we tried, and the result is pretty spectacular.
Okay, so I'm very excited now. Let's unbox the prototype.
You want to do it?
No, Mo, I want you to do it, because I want people to take a look at all the assets that come with this, the box, the inner box. Everything's been designed by you, and it's super well thought out.
Thank you. It's for every version we dedicate its own box, its own color box. So for this, obviously, it's going to be a blue dialed watch. I've designed this box, which actually attracted as much attention as the watch itself, because
it's beautiful though. It's a gorgeous watch.
It's the same. I got same inspiration. It goes with it. There's the logo on top and everything, and it's lacquered wood with inserts, with metal inserts.
Beautiful.
And this is the beautiful watch. Both the hour and the minutes are Luminova, and the inserts are Fumé, One is light blue fume on the hours. The minutes have the opening on the window, and together with the side parts of the case, which is in the same color of the dial, it creates quite a compelling ballet of numerals.
Of the minutes is in lapis.
Oh,
The
wow.
minute
The
yes,
disc in
is
the-
lapis and
Yeah.
it's luminova printed on top.
Wow.
So to create even more that celestial,
That's cool, right?
kind of astrological effect.
That's really cool. It's really cool because the watch has almost like a dual nature. It can be quite subtle because of the fume glass, but then when you put the UV light on it, it just ignites into this spectacular visual pyrotechnics. And I love how you've done this small indicator for the half hour, right? This is really clever.
But that's the thing. A lot of guichet
Yeah.
watches, even back in the 60s and 70s, if they didn't have a wide enough aperture,
There's nothing in between, right?
there was a no man's land where you
Right.
couldn't tell whether, especially on single digit
Yes.
numbers. So you have to overcome with design the fact that it wasn't jumping but it was sweeping.
Yeah.
So if you put a reminder in between and you divide it by sector, you always know where you are.
I love it. It's really cool. And then on top of that, you have the lapis minute disc, which is super cool, right? And you've got this wandering indicator around there. Then in the center, you've got the seconds indicator.
The disc outside the minutes is in sapphire.
The disc
Yeah,
Yes.
the fume disc
Yeah.
is
is it's sapphire
Yeah.
crystal.
overlap is
Now, what's really interesting too is this element that goes from the inner side of the lug and then kind of traverses the case band as well. I love this actually, and it's one of the things I was remarking on here. But you see it so much here because it's been made in a blue colorway as well.
Yes, it's a 7-part case, and we wanted those flanks to be detachable, being a separate part for that reason.
It's beautiful, and it doesn't wear at all. I mean, you said it's 42, but it's 42, but it wears like a smaller
And
watch.
the
That's all
perception, that's one discussion we have all the time these days, up until 5-6 years ago, we thought about a 40 millimeter watch as the start.
Yeah.
We thought watch 40 was small and
Yes.
that it was 40 up. Now you see 40 as a
Big.
no-go. No, just below 36, 35. It's always smaller and smaller. Our perception of watches became completely different, but
Yes.
it's a 42 that wears smaller because of his smoothness.
I would go so far as to say it shouldn't be measured in absolute numbers. It's about proportion and clarity in terms of time reading as well. Because you can read it so easily, and I'm an old bastard and I need these glasses to see anything. But I can even see it without my glasses. But all the time indications are perfectly arrayed, and there's a real nice sense of proportion from hour, minute, seconds. And it doesn't feel like a large watch at all. It feels like it's the right size. Ruben, you were saying that this movement is La Jouperet?
Right?
Wow, that's quite an investment for you to right?
Yeah.
So is this La Jouperet movement with, I would imagine, this module that's on top of it?
Well, no, the fact is that we had to overcome even that with the design.
Wow.
So basically, we managed to keep La Jouperet,
Yeah.
minimal adjustments, but then the same sweeping of the La Jouperet, I have to overcome it with sandwiching the right layers, display layers. So at the end of the day, we didn't have to intervene too much on the movement.
Oh, great.
So it's but that's what I'm saying. It's when the design serves.
But that's hard. That's not easy to do.
It's
right?
not. It's
No.
not. But
Right.
that's how we managed to contain all the materials and all the movement in our price
Okay,
bracket.
so you have a movement from La Jouperet, which I guess is a wandering hour movement with the central seconds indicator. Which it's funny but then you've executed it in a way that feels completely unique and really your sense of identity. That's hard to do, man.
It's hard. You have to think everything and play with what's available, because as a designer you can shoot as high as you can, but especially when you get given, in a way it's easier to design a much more expensive watch because you got more budget. So you go but when you have to stay within the constraint of where you want to position yourself, you have to really scratch your head and think.
Okay, so then the big question is, of course, what is the retail cost of this watch? Ruben, how much is this watch?
4,500 Swiss franc.
That's pretty freaking awesome, dude. Right? Really impressive. So obviously there's a conscious decision on both of your parts to offer a very strong value proposition. Why is that perhaps more important than ever?
Do you remember when we used to talk about the independence being a breath of fresh air?
Yeah.
We're bringing all the things. I think now these micro brands are bringing a lot of creativity, and people approach them with the same interest as they would buy a much more important, say, watch, more expensive watch for that matter, because they bring a lot of creativity and a lot of they satisfy a lot of those cravings that collectors maybe wanted from.
Yeah, but
other
I would
brands.
add one thing, and there is sometimes the perception that micro brands, they bring a lot of creativity, but sometimes they can also be a bit derivative of other, like I've seen so many micro brands that are obviously like homages to watches from the 1940s from certain brands, right?
That was his first. It was the first thing he told me. He said, "I don't want to go back. I want to create from scratch."
That's what I mean.
And we have two dangers here. First, you don't meet the collectors because collectors see something that reminds them of a chronograph from the 40s ago, and it's a safe bet.
Right.
You start selling. With this, it's difficult because you need to introduce a new language, but maybe it will last longer.
Right.
So it's two different things, and I like a challenge.
Right.
I wouldn't know what to do with an old watch.
So I would say even steps out of the boundaries of the traditional micro brand in some way, that it's bringing something really its own identity that's new. It has a display that we're familiar with, but the watch in totality is a really nice, fresh design that feels its own thing, and it feels very mature for a new brand as well, or a new model, right? Which I love. Then there's also great quality there from Labormatic as well, and a very rational and ethical price as well.
Yeah.
So bravo on this. Last question is, Italians are super good at nicknames, right? So even most of the watches even have like Italian nicknames like Friccione or like La Bomba, right? So what is the name of this watch?
I decided, and we decided, and Ruben agreed to call it Luce.
Luce.
In Italian is light,
Yes.
and no better than that. It's going to shine in the middle of the night, so Luce.
And I don't want to take this watch off my wrist, because I think it's absolutely fantastic. Bravo, Mo.
Thank you, Wei.
Bravo,
Thank you, Wei.
Ruben.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Wei. Thank you so much.